It's 10:45 a.m. on the 28th of October 2017. In 3 days' time, there's an absolute cruncher of a full moon. The full moon will be taking place approximately within a couple of minutes each side of 10 to 3 in the afternoon UK time, based in London, on the 31st of October 2020. That's 3 days from now. Adjust your time zones for wherever you are. The full moon will be at 8 degrees 38 minutes. The sun will be at 8:38 Scorpio, the moon will be at 8:38 Taurus, and Uranus will be at 8:41 Taurus. The sun will be precisely opposite Uranus. The moon will be precisely conjunct Uranus. I've never quite seen a full moon this strong on Uranus, not ever. Uranus deals with change, and change can be disruptive, chaotic, dramatic, sudden, unpredictable. It can pull the rug from underneath your feet and send everything spinning. It can bring chaos and disorder and sudden changes completely out of the blue. Change can also be stimulating, innovative, original, exciting and adventurous, with words like independence, freedom and liberty. And Uranus is the astrological indicator of all of these energies. So with the moon conjunct Uranus, it seems as if there's some type of radical breakthrough happening. But with the sun opposite Uranus, there's also the potential for some type of radical breakdown. So it's breakthrough, breakdown situation coming up. So when you look at the rest of what's going on in that full moon chart to get an idea of what the weather's like around the place, when you think of, okay, we've still got Mars going retrograde in Aries, ever fantastically bright in the sky. I've never seen Mars so bright. And I saw a report today that said as we get into early November, for possibly the first and only time in almost all of our lives, if you know exactly where to look, there is a chance on a clear night of seeing Uranus with your naked eye. You have to be in the countryside to do it, away from street lights. I saw this in the Sky at Night magazine, a British BBC astronomy magazine, and they're talking about how Uranus will be visible for the first time, like ever. So that's worthy of looking at. But you can see Mars. Last night I was out and I saw Jupiter and Saturn fading into the evening twilight now, but still very strong. Someone said to me the other week that they're like the eyes of God, drawing closer and closer, and they're really getting close now. Mars is very bright, the moon is spectacular, and Venus in the morning, an hour or two before sunrise, bright and cheerful and joyous. And we may even see Mercury. As Mercury stands still around about the 3rd, and then for the following week after, as the Sun and Mercury draw further and further apart before Mercury really picks up speed, there is the strong possibility of seeing Mercury in the sky first thing in the morning. And I do mean first thing in the morning, way before sunrise, but you're going to have to know where to look. I'll try and give a bit more information on that in times to come. Mars is retrograde. He's squaring Jupiter, squaring Pluto weekly on that full moon. But in the background, he's still squaring Pluto and Saturn and will be until solstice. Mercury will be retrograde at 26-27 degrees of Libra, precisely squaring Saturn. This is not an easy chart. With Mercury squaring Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter, Mars squaring Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter, full moon in precisely conjunct Uranus, there's going to be some type of radical action, behaviour, breakdown in various levels of society. Bearing in mind this comes at a time when a lot of people are being forced into quarantine and being restricted, whilst it seems that in certain countries, mine especially, the elite have freedom of movement. And in America, if your surname is Kardashian, you can go and rent an island and have a big party, even if you are being humble while you do it. And of course, it's just before the American presidential election. This is a tumultuous time. It's a time of potential chaos and disorder, but also a breakthrough. And I think it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I think there's going to be so much challenging circumstances in the next few days that so many people are going to get so disgusted and contemptuous of the antics of those people in positions of responsibility and power who purport to speak for everyone else, that this is going to kind of create a wave, if you like, of a change of mindset. And whilst it won't result in immediate changes, there may actually be quite a lot of repression around the full moon. Things could get quite dodgy for 48, 72 hours. Nevertheless, the long-term outcomes of this are going to lead to permanent and major changes in the way that we put trust in our elected representatives to govern us. And the whole nature of government with Pluto, with all these planets in Capricorn now, from now till solstice, is calling for changes in the way of governance. It's been fine for 200-300 years. But now we're becoming more independent, and the need for consensus, rather than one party saying one way or another party saying the other way. And I suggest that with the development of AI, which in some people's eyes is awful, but to the majority of us it's being seen as a tool that's useful, that the idea of consensus politics based on continued constant referenda electronically seems to be an option for the way forward. I'm sure there's lots of things wrong with that, but a change is as good as a rest, and we're in a mess collectively. No one trusts their governments anymore, except in one or two enlightened places, like New Zealand, for example. So I think this full moon's a tipping point. And I think that we're going to see some startling changes in the next few weeks. Bearing in mind that after this, the new moon in the middle of November, on the day that Mercury clears the retrograde shadow and that Mars stops going backwards, is very strongly sextiling Jupiter and Pluto. And then we've got that wonderful new moon just before the American inauguration on January the 13th, exactly conjunct Pluto. We're heading into unprecedented times, and it's going to be exciting, stimulating, different to anything we've ever seen before. And there's going to be extremes of behaviour on both sides, but the long-term outcome looks very positive indeed for the vast majority of us. And astrologically, I'm going to really stick my neck out now. I think that next year COVID is not going to be anywhere near as big a problem as it has been this year. We're going to learn to live with it. It's not going to go away, and the vaccines will never happen, not in an effective way. And while the numbers are going up, the numbers of deaths are going down. Either the virus is weakening or we're developing a herd immunity. I don't think it's going to be as bad next year, folks. I really don't. But this next few months, wow, rather that than boring, eh? Catch you later, world. Bye.